This is In the Dirt with ASOTU.
All right, we are sitting here at the Cars.com booth with Alex Holt, and hanging out with the GM of Fuel, but also, like he was just describing to us, actually his head title is Data Nerd over here, right? Unofficial head title.
Yep.
Talk to us a little bit about what your kind of winding road through other industries and then into automotive now.
Yeah, so I started in the media space in automotive in 2013, working with OEMs and dealers, and then kind of took a long winding road through a bunch of different industries, aerospace, food and beverage.
Obviously.
Why not,
obvious
right?
path.
You'd be surprised. Restaurant owners, car dealers, there's a lot of similarities.
That's true. We do talk about that.
It's very true.
Back of house,
and then
craziness.
and then ended up back at Cars.com, started in the marketing department as a data nerd, focusing on analytics, really unifying data, focusing on person level marketing, and then I've worked my way through some sort of product management roles, thinking about AI and ML and the role of that in MarTech, and then I moved on to Fuel, where I kind of started from ground zero, built our product, built the platform, built the analytics, and now I've sort of taken that across the enterprise, thinking about data strategy and marketing activation on our first-party data as a whole.
Yeah, because from what I know about Fuel, is it really is thinking about how do we take the audience and the people that we already know that are shopping the Cars ecosystem and extrapolating that for a dealer and plugging it into their local marketing.
Absolutely.
And so I'm guessing that once you saw that, it was like, whoa.
Yep.
We can take that across platform.
Absolutely.
What was the learning initially when Fuel came on board and then the transition to taking that across platform?
Yeah, so we focus a lot on influence, right? Because as cookies are starting to go away, as marketing is getting more difficult for anonymized users, we have to influence people that are in that buying moment. And when you run the video in a local market to a hyper-targeted audience, the lift you see post-impression, right? So if you treat someone who's gotten a video impression and then someone who's just come to the site organically, you actually see sometimes 2 to 3x the engagement, because people have often decided on their car, but they haven't decided on their dealer. Like 93% of people who know what car they want don't know what dealer they want to go to. And when you build that branding in that high intent audience, you see this incredible lift in how they engage with the site. And we thought, okay, well, if that's what video is doing, what if we kept engaging them across different media? And it turns out you can activate this audience in a ton of different ways that all help each other. So it's kind of rising tide lifts all boats. So across search, social, display, video, the whole ecosystem, and you start thinking about person level marketing, right? What is that advertising journey from I know what car I want to I know where I want to get it?
That's interesting. They're starting to see in celebrity audiences. I know I'm getting back around to it, right? So a celebrity can have a following on a social media account, but there's so much talk in the ad world about turning that following into an audience, right? And using the data to connect, because what they're finding is that even as it ties back to monetizing celebritdom, that hitting people across channel on multiple pieces, whether that is even television or email or even direct served ads, that it makes a massive difference in the follower count and the ability for the celebrity to monetize. So like we're going from celebrities to car dealers. Sometimes they're
the same, right?
Sometimes they're the same. But it's interesting that you bring that up, because I was just having that conversation yesterday.
Yeah, and you bring up things like email and linear. One of the benefits of using our first-party data at Cars.com and marrying that with the dealer's first-party data is that they both grow, right? And in a cookieless future, if we're looking at this world of you have to opt into advertising, if you're thinking about the person, once the dealer owns that customer and you have that engagement, now that dealer does not have to spend a ton more search budget to acquire this person who they don't know who they are. They don't have to spend social dollars. Now they have them in the database. They can hit them with email, they can call them, and these are really cheap ways to own your customer. And so if you start thinking about not channel level traffic, but growing your first party data, you are spending, maybe $8 or $10 to acquire a person, and now you can save all that money on the back end to try to reacquire them through other channels, and you can maximize the consumer lifetime value. So I think in the future, that's really where we're headed, is that person level marketing.
You said the words, I was going to double click on it anyway, but you're a couple years into the Fuel project at this point. I think it was announced in 19 or 20, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And so you're a few years into that project, and then taking this audience strategy across. Are you seeing On the other end of a transaction or a customer acquisition, on the other end, are you seeing greater brand loyalty or greater retention numbers? Have you started tracking the data past the sale or past the service at this point?
We actually have, and it's fairly new, but we work with a very large national customer, and we've done just that. So when we serve our advertising, we actually have built a tech stack, and it really depended on the customer. Not every dealer is ready for this, and that's one of the things I've been hearing at this show is we need CDPs, we need unified data, we need to stitch the journey together. This customer, thankfully, is over that hump, and so we're able to track from our audience to the ad impression, to their CRM, to the sale, and we can start really, instead of that one point of sale, then you can really think about lifetime value. And that's the asset that I think that everybody needs to start thinking about, is from prospecting all the way through to their next car sale 3 years down the line. What is the cost and the ROI on one person? And if we can think that way, it's really going to change the way we think about customer service and ownership in the future.
I'm getting really excited because this is like my woo 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 moment, right? This is like the reality that we've gone from. We have to sell every single car, like VIN-based advertising. I mean, everybody was talking about that 4 or 5 years ago, and now we're all talking about, no, these are people that we're serving. They just happen to buy cars, and that the touch points, the communications, the life cycle are that important. And I love to see how technology, what you guys are doing, is supporting that narrative, because I think what we're going to do as an industry, we're going to endear ourselves more to customers than just shouting at them all the time, right? And that's really what this does.
And as an industry, our goal should be to help our customers, right? And instead of thinking about it from a pure monetization perspective, if you really understand the person, you can help them, and it can be a real relationship, which is really what we want. And in terms of thinking beyond the sale, another place I think that's really important is the EV market. Like, if you look at growth in EV market share between now and 2030, there are projections it's going to be 50%. Most of those cars don't exist yet. So what's going to happen is the cookie is going to go away right when the EV market skyrockets.
So we're gonna have no idea.
So you're going to have no idea how to find these people, and everyone's going to be going to Google, and they're going to be spending $40 a click on an EV search because everyone's going there. So if you start thinking beyond the sale and thinking about how do I build an audience for tomorrow, today, right, you have about a year and a half where you can build, understand the research cycle, understand what they're looking for, engage them through email, through content, through newsletters, and you can start building that audience now. So when the EVs really hit, when that line really goes up, you're already going to know who those people are. And even they might not buy for 2 years, but in 2 years, you're going to be way ahead of the curve. So again, thinking about the person, the intent, and the future, really important.
Well, Alex, it's been great getting to know you and chatting a little bit. Your voice is amazing. I want you to call a baseball game, right?
Yes.
That's amazing. But thank you for the work that you're doing. And this isn't the last time. I have a feeling we're going to talk about these things. And
I hope not.
We'll talk soon.
Sounds good. Good to meet you guys, and thanks for the time.
Thanks for watching this episode of In the Dirt with ASOTU. If you're new to our channel, make sure and mash that like and subscribe button. Also, check out some of these links for our other great podcasts and content.